Welcome again to Wickerson Studios. My name is Michael Wickerson, and I am starting a smaller series that pairs against my 1001 scripts that is digging deep into the path mapper and the logic and really programming within Grasshopper for Rhino, but I thought it might be necessary to uh, get on my Mac computer and try 100 pretty basic scripts that don't deal in trees so much, but throw that out to my peers and colleagues and people at other schools and certainly my students and show them the power of working algorithms for various and adaptable forms. And after I get the series done of about 100, I think I actually am going to start taking Patreon a little more seriously. Anyway, as I jump in here, you'll see grasshoppers on the right. You may notice that my Windows window looks a little different. You can go into Rhinoceros preferences and go into themes, and you can grab Rhino for Windows and move away from the other one. And all you have to do is log out and log on again, and that'll happen. And I like the Rhino window. It doesn't match exactly for Windows, but I'll deal with it. So what I've done is I've called this first one Sine and Cosine to get you thinking of still the attributes, the points. So I'm going to put it on here and show you that it basically built a point system from the x-coordinate being I thought I'd just extract out. So what I did was I set in my point, and then I decided, well, I'll make a range node, and then I will probably make my domain, because you don't have to. You could plug in the pi and then a factor of pi right into the domain here, but I think it's best to write this all out, and I'm extracting things here that I didn't have to type in. I know within there is the 0, here is the 10 default, and I thought I'd just stay true to that 10 and keep using it. But basically you want to build a point system that's influenced by sine, cosine on the y, and then at times you can add other polynomials in here. So if you're really into it, you can go into the maths, grab yourself some fun polynomials and pop them in here. They get pretty wild if you start doing this. So on Mac, I find it really crashes out on me. It's only a version 5. I've got no plugins. I really like that. It's basically how people are going to open it up with no bifocals, and I'm setting things to display icons, fancy wires, and full names. So this is what students are going to have when they start. I think it's responsible on my part to bring it in and show Mac. Try and keep these videos very short. Once you have your point system, I'm showing them how to interpolate those points by using NURBS curves or using interpolated curve, and I'll provide these files. I've set the degree to 3, even though you could adjust that and get more polylines if you want, or you can get a little smoother. And then I simply revolved it, something that they would basically do. This is an exercise they'd probably make in Rhino as a CAD program and then put it through manufacturing and say, okay, that's the shape I really like. But the power of this is that shape is parametric. Just off of this point alone, it's a fun little adjust before you even do anything to your functions of sine and cosine with polynomials. But definitely that's a little more control than you're going to get out of a CAD program. Then I take my surface and I show a really excellent script that I've never seen, which is the preferred way of people to do it. I find taking your surface reparameterized into a evaluate point, into a offset surface, and into breps, and then interpret them as lines in the edges and loft those separately and then just cap your baselines is an alternative to getting in here and using what most people do with, or what I've seen a lot of, the divide to domain, the iso trim on surface. But it's how you think about how to do it with an evaluate surface and then with an extrude tool. So there's lots of little ways of getting around here and going into utilities, I think it is. That's the offset, but analysis, I think freeform would allow you to extrude. But this allows you to see the understanding of what's happening in the normals, how much you want to divide it, and you gain an awful lot of control of this form. Now in the end, I actually have these bottom surfaces lofted nicely like that as untrimmed surfaces. It's a very fast script. I've got a loft between those and a loft between the top ones. Then I have the sides, and I have this side, the inside, and the outside, and that's been pretty nice. One surface, another surface, the lofts between this one, and the bottom planes. And if I bring them all in, I have 6 really nice trim surfaces, and it functions totally to give a nice thick bottom to any vessel or pot you want to do. And if you don't, if you want to have a look at it, you just go in here and you hit bake. throw it through a grouping if you want. It's still going to come in the Rhino this way. You've got a really nice form, and that's still completely parametric to change and alter that. And you know, it's not too many parameters. Certainly one that you could put at AR, SPAR, or Photogram AR. And then again, this algorithm can fold into many different things. It could be a stadium. It could be you can like basically realize that it's not about making that one iteration. It's like what is made from this algorithm. So I'm going to give some very basic algorithms. This is one that uses sine and cosine in the maths and then goes through and really does a nice sealing of an object with proper thickness that you can control to take the 3D print. So it's a really nice sample in my opinion, and that allows you to work off of the algorithms I'm going to start putting on Patreon after I get to about 100. So I've got you know, after all the ones I've done, I've got some of my favorites, and that's really what I'm going to do. And what I do in Windows is I have this tool and plugin called snippets, and instead of turning these into clusters, which you could do, and I'll show an example of that maybe on this series, but I think what I'm going to do is write very basic algorithms in 5 minutes, allow you to have them on GitHub, let my students play with them, and see if they have a parametric mind and they're more interested in working this way than possibly working in single iterations to what they do. They're writing an algorithm and then applying it to what they want. And I haven't really played with anything but one slider, but even the basis of this, like that, a nice little vessel sealed, is pretty sweet. And nothing fancy, really, just the basic algorithms that work, and narrow them down: Occam's razor, theory and parsimony, and simplicity. So thanks. I hope this series finds its way online and finds some interest. Thanks for watching.